we're a worry for the markets once again, as you and I have repeated so many times, and we gather on days like this.
But it's not.
It's not, right? So could the markets live with not seeing it this year, tax cuts this year?
Well, I try and look at things through a different lens. I look at the positive price performance, not the politics of what's happening. So let's look at how far the markets have come. And, you know, that's a cherry on top if we can get some of these legislative items done. But we're this far along, regardless of what's happened in the nonsense that's happened out of Washington, D.C. Let's remember this first 6 months, we talked at 20K, now we're at 22K in the Dow. That's 10% in 6 months. But if you compare that to the previous administration, they moved 20% in the first 6 months. So this is a long-term momentum play that I don't want to step in front of. But pay attention to some of these other areas. Let's look at like the VIX or maybe even gold. The gold bugs are quiet right now, but it's the unknown knowns that I'm concerned about, that there's, you know, everybody's priced in perfection. Yeah. Something could happen down the road, and I would like to hedge some way, somehow. You know,
I'm always surprised, Kenny, but you and I talked about this, that maybe the markets had factored this in as a gimme, maybe if it's delayed till 2018. But I have a hard time thinking that if it's true that they can't get their act together as Republicans and vote on this by November in the Senate, which was the goal, even though that goal kept getting pushed back, I don't think it's a next year event in a midterm, you know, election year. I don't know. What do you think?
You know, the longer they wait, the more politically risky it becomes for them. I'm an optimist, and I would love to see if the markets continue to improve, as well as having tax reform, so people can, across the board, can have tax cuts and enjoy their own income that they work so hard for without the government stealing it from them. And, you know, we're seeing the markets working because there are so many indicators that say we have reason to be optimistic, but it has to rest on a solid foundation.
Alan, obviously you've been right on these markets all the way up here, saying they're following, you know, good earnings, they're following good fundamentals and all. How long do you just see all of that happening?
Remain positive until proven otherwise. I mean, the fool is the one that tries to pick the top and turn in this market, and they've been wrong now for 8 years. So I'm still very optimistic, just as Kennedy is. But at some point, there will be some relaxing of this trend. I'm not in the business of trying to pick that. I'm still looking at some value areas, and I think that fact that crude oil is pushed up, that can stabilize energy stocks. And I mentioned gold. I think that's something to keep an eye on in the fact that it's been forgotten about, and that can lift some mining stocks, and that sector comes back if we could push about $13 to $100 an ounce. It's so interesting to me that nobody has used gold as a safe haven, and these are the most uncertain times I've seen in the last 8 years.
Yeah, it is wild, but you don't fight the tape, as they say. Guys, thank you both very, very much.